do these come out? My bad. So these come out in April. These are Shedeur Sanders sneakers, bruh. So we have a release date on these. So these come out in April. Wow. That's a whole nother video, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So his signature shoes gonna come out in April, bro. These are nice.
Sanders is the first fifth round rookie to make the Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua.
Let's talk about
but let's talk about his stats before we talk about the Pro Bowl. All right. His 2025 stats. All right, he went 120 of 212 passes for completions. 1,400 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Now, Cam, that has raised a lot of red flags around the Pro Bowl and really what does it mean to be a Pro Bowler.
You think I'm worried about what critics say or what people gotta say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. So it's like it's almost normal. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like the adversity. We like everything that comes with the name. That's why we are who we are.
Do these come out? My bad. So these come out in April. These are Shedeur Sanders sneakers, bro. Without people hating, it's not normal for us. So we like the adversity. That's why we are who we are. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. April, Pro Bowl, cameras everywhere. And then, out of nowhere, that moment happens. You hear it, and your brain almost short circuits for a second. Wait, these come out when? April. Hold up. Did he just casually reveal a signature shoe drop at Pro Bowl practice? Like he was talking about a new pair of gloves? Because that's exactly what happened. And I'm telling you right now, if that didn't make you pause and rewind, you weren't paying attention. This wasn't a staged press release. This wasn't some polished commercial rollout. This was raw, unscripted. A rookie-level player standing in one of the biggest spotlight environments the NFL has to offer, calmly letting it slip that his own signature sneakers are dropping in April, like it's normal business. And that's the part that hit me, the normalcy of it. Because nothing about that is normal in this league. Signature shoes aren't for maybe guys. They're not for players who are supposed to be waiting their turn. They're not for dudes people are still debating about online every single day. Signature shoes are for faces, for brands. For players, the league knows people will watch, talk about, argue over. So no, this isn't just about sneakers. This is a signal. This is the league, the brands, and the spotlight all quietly saying the same thing at the same time. This guy moves the needle, whether you like him or not. And then came the second part of the hook, the part that tells you everything you need to know about how this story is going to play out. He gets asked about the hate, about the critics, about the noise. And his response wasn't defensive, it wasn't emotional. It was almost amused. You think I'm worried about what critics say? You know who my dad is? They hated on him too. That line matters because that's not bravado, that's conditioning. That's someone who grew up understanding that attention comes with a price and pressure isn't something you avoid, it's something you wear. He didn't say he tolerates the hate. He said without it, things wouldn't feel normal. And that right there, that's the theme of this entire video. Adversity isn't an obstacle for him, it's fuel. This is a player who isn't asking to be liked. He's not trying to win over the comment section. He's not begging for validation. He's stepping into moments that would overwhelm most young players and treating them like checkpoints. Pro Bowl, cameras, legends around him, internet watching. And he's talking about an April shoe drop. That tells you where his head is. Because today isn't really about shoes. It's about what this moment represents. Status, attention, opportunity. And with all of that comes pressure, real pressure, expectations, scrutiny, people waiting for you to fail just so they can say, see, told you. This was the spark. What comes next is the fire. Whether you love him or hate him, here's the truth. Nobody can escape anymore. He's unavoidable. You can scroll past highlights. You can mute debates. You can argue stats all day long. But moments like this, Pro Bowl stage, national cameras, legends around him. You don't get to ignore that, because this didn't happen in a vacuum. This moment hit the way it did because of where he's standing right now in the league. Not where people want him to be, where he actually is. Sitting right in the middle of every conversation that matters. Depth chart debates. Is he really that guy? Arguments. Fans split down the middle. Analysts hedging every sentence. That's not accidental. That's what happens when a player sits on the fault line between doubt and belief. And the Pro Bowl amplifies everything. Every rep is magnified. Every interaction is watched. Every soundbite becomes fuel. You're not just another guy at practice, you're under a microscope. And instead of shrinking in that environment, he leaned into it. Calm, comfortable, talking, leading. That mic'd up footage matters more than people want to admit. Because leadership doesn't show up in box scores. It doesn't show up in completion percentage. It shows up in moments when you're surrounded by players you've never thrown to before, and somehow it still looks natural. He's in the huddle, explaining spacing, timing, intent. He's joking 1 second, locking in the next. That's quarterback presence. That's command. You either have it or you don't. We've seen talented players freeze in these moments. This wasn't that. And then there's the mentorship angle, the part people try to downplay but shouldn't. When someone like Mike Vick is around you, working with you, invested in you, that's not a coincidence. Legends don't lend their time lightly. They see patterns. They recognize mindset. They attach themselves to players who remind them of something familiar. That's symbolic. That's a torch being hovered, not handed but offered. And fans feel that, even the ones who don't want to admit it. Because this league is a business before it's anything else. The NFL doesn't push stories that don't move people. Brands don't invest early in players they don't believe can carry attention. Media doesn't keep circling names that don't drive clicks, arguments, emotion. This player checks every one of those boxes. He sparks debates. He divides timelines. He pulls eyes toward every clip he's in. That's value. That's currency. That's why moments like a Pro Bowl shoe reveal don't feel random. They feel inevitable. The league can't stop selling the story because fans can't stop watching it. And that's where things get dangerous. Because when attention turns into expectation, when belief turns into pressure, that's when the real test starts. All right, now let's talk about the elephant in the room, because I know exactly what some of y'all were thinking the second this Pro Bowl news dropped. The critics showed up immediately. The timelines lit up. The comments went crazy. So let me get this straight. He's a Pro Bowler, but y'all are mad? Mad about the selection. Mad about the hype. Mad about the shoes. Mad about the attention. And it always comes back to the same 3 talking points. First, the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything. Second, it's a popularity contest. Third, he didn't earn it. It's the name. Let's slow this down for a second, because the Pro Bowl has always been a vote. Fans, players, coaches, that's never changed. It was a vote when your favorite QB made it. It was a vote when legends got in off reputation. It was a vote when guys with worse numbers than him got the nod. But suddenly, it's a popularity contest only when it's him. And then comes the stat line. They'll pull it up real quick. Touchdowns, interceptions, completion percentage, efficiency. They'll say it like it's a mic drop. 7 touchdowns, 10 picks. There's no way that's Pro Bowl worthy. Okay, cool. Let's talk football then. Because if this league handed out recognition strictly based on clean box scores, half the stars we celebrate today wouldn't have gotten early chances. We've seen quarterbacks get elevated on projection, not perfection. We've seen the league crown guys early when they see upside, leadership, and let's be honest, market pull. We've seen this before. Think Jalen Hurts early. Think Josh Allen early. Think Lamar before the MVP season. Raw moments, messy stretches, loud doubters. But when the league believes, they lean in. And that's what people don't want to admit here. This isn't charity. This isn't pity. This isn't favoritism just for fun. This is the NFL doing what the NFL always does, betting early when they think a player can carry weight. Now let's talk about the name part, because that's where things really get uncomfortable. He only got it because of his dad. So what you're really saying is, the name opens the door, but the player still has to walk through it. Cameras don't stay on you if you fold. Legends don't mentor you if you don't listen. Teammates don't respond to you in the huddle if you don't command respect. A name might get attention. It doesn't earn trust. And here's the thing, nobody wants to say out loud, it's a business. It's a business until he starts winning the business. It's a vote until he wins the vote. It's hype until the hype keeps showing up. The backlash isn't surprising. It's predictable. But the real danger isn't the hate. The real danger is what happens when a player stops fighting it and starts feeding off it. Because once that switch flips, that's when things get real interesting. This is where it flips. This is the part of the story where noise turns into opportunity and pressure starts turning into power. Because now we're entering that stretch most fans don't talk about enough. The quiet stretch, the dangerous stretch. The next 90 days, no games, no stadium lights, just off-season work, film rooms, weight rooms, walkthroughs, conversations. This is where quarterbacks are actually built, and this is where things can change fast. You can feel it coming. Teams don't say it out loud, but they show you what they believe by how they move. Staff hires, system tweaks, who's in the room, who's being developed, who's being protected. When organizations start investing in infrastructure, they're telling you something without ever holding a press conference. They're betting on the quarterback. And even if you're not a Browns fan, you've seen this movie before. When teams start building around a guy instead of just evaluating him, the entire trajectory shifts. Confidence grows. Trust builds. Chemistry follows. That mic'd up footage we talked about earlier, that wasn't just cool content. That was a preview. Listen closely to how he talks. The way he explains spacing. The way he simplifies routes. The way he prioritizes the red zone. That's not random chatter. That's processing speed. That's situational awareness. That's a quarterback seeing the field before the snap instead of reacting after it. He's not perfect. Nobody's claiming that. But the tools are there, and that's the scary part for everyone rooting against him. Because tools plus reps plus belief, that's how things change quickly in this league. That's how a guy goes from project to problem faster than people expect. And now let's talk about timing, because timing matters. That shoe drop coming in April, that's not just marketing. That's momentum. That's keeping his name in circulation while defenses are studying tape and critics are refreshing timelines. It keeps the conversation loud when football usually goes quiet. Brands don't bet early unless they see something coming. They're not buying what he's done. They're buying what they think he's about to do. So ask yourself this, what do they know that the loudest haters don't want to admit? What are they seeing in meetings, practices, workouts, leadership moments that doesn't show up in a stat column yet? Because this is how it always starts. Early noise, early doubt, early investment. We've seen quarterbacks take massive jumps when belief finally aligns with opportunity, when the game slows down, when the locker room listens, when the staff commits. And if this next stretch goes the way it can go, if the growth shows up on the field, then don't be surprised when the same people laughing right now suddenly start explaining why they always saw it. That switch up is coming. The only question left is how loud it's going to be when it happens. This is my prediction, and I'm saying it clearly right now so there's no confusion later. This is the moment they're going to point back to. This is the clip. This is the week. This is the stretch where the story officially changed. Years from now, when people argue about when it all clicked, it won't just be a stat line or a random win. It'll be this: Pro Bowl optics, leadership footage, legends nearby, cameras everywhere. A rookie-level player moving like he's already been here before. That's how modern stars are built in real time, in public, under pressure. Think about it. He didn't hide. He didn't downplay it. He didn't shrink. He showed up, talked football, led players he'd never shared a huddle with, soaked up mentorship from legends, and casually revealed a signature shoe drop like it was part of the routine. That's not arrogance. That's comfort. That's belonging. And people hate that because comfort under pressure is threatening. So let's bring it back to the line that tells you everything about how this ends. The line people laughed at. The line people ignored. Without people hating, it's not normal. Say it again. Without people hating, it's not normal. They doubted him. They questioned him. They tried to delegitimize him. They tried to turn votes into jokes and moments into controversy. And he still walked in like he belonged. That's not accidental. That's wiring. We've seen this pattern before in this league. Players who get loud resistance early usually aren't failing. They're disrupting. They're forcing people to react. They're forcing conversations. And once production catches up to presence, that's when things flip fast. Because belief is contagious, so is momentum. This moment had everything. The optics, the narrative, the tension, the proof of leadership, the bet from brands, the signal from the league. It wasn't one thing, it was all of it happening at once. That's why I'm saying it now. When the season starts, when the lights are real, when the throws matter, people are going to come back to this Pro Bowl stretch and say, yeah, that's when it started making sense. So here's the question for you, and I want you to be honest. Are you team believe, or are you team prove it? Because either way, you're watching, you're paying attention, and you're part of the story now. April is the drop, but the season is the statement.